Welcome to the Somos Sunnyside Podcast, brought to you by the Communications Department of the Sunnyside Unified School District. Thank you for tuning in while we share stories about the bright side of education.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Somos Sunnyside. That's right, we are Sunnyside and I'm Jose Castellum, the proud superintendent of the Sunnyside Unified School District. And today's topic is Sunnyside Wrestling. So there's so much to cover when it comes to Sunnyside Wrestling. You know, as we all know, it's a strong tradition, a strong excellence of champions. And so, you know, we're going to dive right in. You know, our guest today is Coach Anthony Leon, and we also got a freshman here in the house, a state champion here in the house, and that's Jack Thrush. So welcome. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
You feeling still good about the whole championship? Let's just dive right in. Tell us a little bit about your experience as a freshman, going into the state tournament, and you know, and just cleaning house. You know, you did a good job. You obviously won your bracket, and you were crowned a state champion in the 106 pound weight class. I don't think I weighed 106 pounds in sixth grade, man. So, but tell us a little bit about that experience, Jack.
It was pretty crazy. Like, I've never wrestled in front of like that much people before. There was like, I don't know how many, like the whole
Veterans Memorial Arena, right?
Yeah, it was pretty much packed. And I've never wrestled in front of that much people before, so it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about like your mindset. So, you know, going in, obviously, how long have you been wrestling now?
Like my whole life.
Your whole life. So since you started walking, you had wrestling shoes and just started wrestling, huh?
Yeah, like I've known Leon since I was like in diapers, pretty much. So I've always just been in the room.
So at what point in your life did you say, you know what, I want to go to Sunnyside High School and I want to be a state champ?
Pretty much, like almost since the beginning. Like when I started, like when I was like 5-6 years old, was when like I knew I was gonna go to Sunnyside and I knew I was gonna wrestle.
So what did it feel like when you, because you know I happened to be at the match and you won, they raised your hand and you walked out of there like it was just a weekend match in Phoenix at USA Wrestling Tournament or something like that. You walked out of there like you had been there before. So what was the feeling inside? What were your thoughts when you were crowned the champion?
I mean, like I feel like I've known kind of that I was gonna win state for a little while now, like a couple years now. Like I was gonna be a 4-timer, and it's just like I already knew I was gonna win, so it's just like I was just one.
You were prepared, huh?
Yeah.
You were ready.
Yeah.
So you've been thinking about this for years.
Yeah.
Right, and so and obviously you've had the right experiences, you've had the right training, and so you went in there. You know, you weren't nervous at all or anything like that.
Nah, I don't think I was that nervous. I was more nervous for, like, my first match.
Right.
Like my first dual match than that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you did have about, 30-some matches under your belt this year?
Yeah.
Just for the season?
That. Yeah, something like that.
So, well, congratulations. You know, it's such a, great accomplishment to win a state championship as a freshman, and I think the bar's been set high at Sunnyside for a very long time now, and it's nice going in knowing that it's doable, right? I mean, we've had, I would say, a few 4-timers, bunch of 3-timers, bunch of 2-timers, and so it's neat to go in there knowing that you're going to have that opportunity, and you're competing with some of the best guys in the state, right? And so, so congratulations on that. So, Coach, I want to talk a little bit about, just want to read some things off, because I think it's so important for people to realize. I think sometimes we take it for granted because we're just so used to Sunnyside being at the top, right? We're so used, we expect it. We expect you to win a state championship every year. And I think we all pencil you guys in to be state champions every year, but I know it doesn't come without work, and I know it doesn't come without headaches and a lot of sacrifices, and challenges, and how you get your team ready. I love that, you go out of state and compete with the very best teams out there, and sometimes it takes humbling experiences to move forward and to get better, and you're doing those things. and you put the team in a position where they're having those experiences. And so for me, it never gets old to say this is the 39th state championship for Sunnyside. 39 state championships. I mean, some schools don't even have 39 state championships with all sports, right? And here we are at Sunnyside High School, and just wrestling alone has 39 state championships. It's now, is it 10 in a row now?
9 in a row.
9 in a row now. 9 in a row. And also our girls wrestling program is doing some outstanding work. They've just won their second consecutive state championship. And, we applaud them as well. And Coach Olivas, Coach Will for what he's established there with the girls. And they had 3 finalists. The boys had 7 finalists. I mean, it was an all-out effort for Sunnyside. And then, it's just been a sweet, sweet month, the month of February, the month of March, just all the accolades that are coming from wrestling, not only Sunnyside High School wrestling, but the former alumni wrestlers that are now doing some great things at the college level. Sunnyside now has 11 All-Americans and 6 national champions total.
That's at the Division I level.
And that's at the Division I level, right? Not even counting.
Yeah, there. It goes a lot further because we just had a junior college national champion last year, Joe Lee. Before that, I mean, we talked about Eddie Urbano being a national champion. Yeah. Not a lot of people remember he was a national champion at Pima College in 83 or 84. And so, I mean, we had an All-American at the NAIA level this year. We had an All-American at the junior college level. Mm-hmm. So the kids are getting it done at all levels. And like you said at the board meeting, like everybody's experience with wrestling is it's so different, so varied. There are the Jack Thrushes in the world that are like, gonna wrestle at the Division I level and probably Ivy League. But then there's also the kid who, joins the team, wants to lose 30 pounds. They lose 30 pounds and make the starting lineup, and they squeak in there for a 6th place and help the team win a state championship. And so, there's just so many experiences, and I'm lucky enough to have witnessed every range of experience, and all of them are equally fun.
I love that you say that, just because success is defined differently for different people, right? And we know we're going to have state champions. We know we're going to have state championship teams. But I love that example of, that individual that wanted to lose 30 pounds and help the team win it, right? Chipped in and earned some points there for the team totals, And so, success is defined differently for individuals. And I think, I think people take for granted sometimes just the skill sets you learn from being a student athlete. I think a lot of times people know at some point in your life, your sports career is going to end, right? Hopefully for some of these kids, they hit the highest marks and make a living off of it, make a little money off of it. But for some, it's going to be after college. For some, right after high school, right? And so, but what you learn from being in a disciplined sport like wrestling is you learn lifelong skills, right? You learn that work ethic, being there every day, showing up on time, being a reliable teammate, and some of those things. And so, I also want to talk a little bit about kind of what's been all over the news. It's so cool to see Sunnyside, being talked about on ESPN, across every major news sports station across the country. And I'm referring to our recent national champions. Audrey Jimenez at Lehigh University won the national championship, pinned her opponent, I believe in the first period, and became, I believe, Lehigh's first NCAA champion. Is that correct, Coach?
Women's.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. Women's first women's national champion, and of course, Sergio Vega, true freshman at Oklahoma State University, went undefeated, and just another great story. First freshman being undefeated since like 1947, and he defeated his opponent, who was the 2-time defending national champion. So that was no easy task. He beat somebody and a senior to boot, right? Mm-hmm. And so didn't give up a takedown all season. That's insane, man. That's a whole nother level of wrestling. And when you think about it, he was in high school last year, man. He was rolling around with all the other teammates in high school. And so what are your thoughts on that, Jack? I mean, what comes to mind when you see these two individuals that you obviously know, Audrey and Sergio, just reaching the pinnacle of NCAA wrestling?
I mean, it's kind of I don't know how to describe it. It's it feels a little weird because I talk to those people every now and again, and I work out with them and I train with them. So just to see them on TV winning NCAA titles, it's pretty surreal.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it is, and it's great. It's great for Sunnyside wrestling. Great for Tucson. It's a great inspiration for those others, and it puts things in perspective, right? Like when you think about, hey, you keep working hard, you keep doing, making good decisions. Anything's possible. I believe I've heard just watching different videos. I think I've watched those videos of Sergio and Audrey 200 times, just over and over and over again, and just hearing just different opinions on the wrestling and those matches and it's just as you said, it's surreal, right? But it's nice to hear Sunnyside on the map, and I keep going back to Audrey's interview, and I wish we had a little live clip here that we can play. And I'll encourage the listeners, go on YouTube or any of those streaming platforms that you use and look up Audrey Jimenez's interview with Jordan Burroughs, who's obviously a wrestling legend, who went to Nebraska, Olympian champion. But just the way she talks about, and just speaks with passion. She had me in tears, man. I'm there I can't believe how perfect this young lady is. She's just talking about her community, her coach, her teammates, that her community made her what she is, and she doesn't forget so many great people she's come across, and that's just a huge compliment to the Sunnyside community, and Sunnyside High School, to the wrestling program and the district, and so I encourage those of you that haven't heard it to hear it. But Coach, let's talk a little bit about obviously you attended these matches live. What goes through your head, man? Because you got a good poker face, man. You sit there and I don't see any emotions, and I'm inside, it's got to be feeling so darn good, to see these kids, not only your high school kids achieve and where they're headed, but also, the success and obviously better than anyone else, all these other individuals. It's just how they define success. Mm-hmm. Obviously Audrey and Sergio are getting a well-deserved recognition out there, and you had Anthony Jimenez out there, who was also an All-American at Iowa State and wrestled. Those were probably some cool moments too. I kept telling people, I was bragging to my friends, you see those two kids wrestling? They're both from Sunnyside. I'm that's the number 2 in the nation, number 4 in the nation, and they're both from Sunnyside, right? And then now they're both at the NCAA tournament. But I'm talking a lot, Coach, because I'm so excited and passionate about this. But I want you to, talk a little bit about, what goes through your head, what goes through your mind and inside of you when you see all this just happening, and it hits you hard because it's all happened here in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been. I just think back to Audrey's match, and we're actually sitting with somebody else that was there because Jack was there watching, and just sharing those moments with. I also had a childhood friend with me who helped coach me when I was younger, and he was there, and so it was just those moments are great, and watching. I think the biggest thing is that I saw a fight between Israel Adesanya and Pereira, mm-hmm. and the interview afterwards, Israel Adesanya, who's fighting this weekend, said, he said, "I want everybody to experience this feeling, this emotion, one time in their life." And I thought that was the greatest thing, because we don't do it for money. We don't do it for anything else. I don't think people do it for fame or anything like that, but you do it for those moments that sometimes people don't even know how good they feel when you've put a lifetime of work into it. And I know, I look at the faces of Sergio and Audrey when they did that, and I think back to that interview that he said, I just want you to feel what I'm feeling one time in your life.
And you're referring to the UFC guys, right?
Yeah,
These
yeah.
guys are
UFC guy, Israel Adesanya, famous
it's
professional fighter.
Yeah. I mean, but it's that competitive drive, right? I mean, that I think these individuals have, and they're not going to stop till they get what they want, right? And it's a beautiful thing, because not everybody can do it. So we are going to break to a quick commercial break, but don't go away, because we got a lot to talk about here in the house with Sunnyside Wrestling.
You will love SUSD. Don't believe us? Just watch. In Sunnyside Unified School District, students dream big, learn boldly, and grow confidently. From hands-on STEM and arts programs to student athletes earning athletic scholarships, Sunnyside District gives every student a place to shine. Enrollment for the 26-27 school year is now available. Enroll today at susd12.org.
All right, we are back. We're talking about Sunnyside Wrestling and the success of this dynasty, this program, that has 39 state championships at the boys level, and our girls just won their second state championship. So I also want to talk a little bit about our women's program, because it's definitely on the rise. A big congratulations to Jaylene Alfaro, who's the state champion for our girls. And then we had a couple runners up, Riala Garza, who I believe is a freshman. And then Alessandra Robles, who I know is a two-time runner-up, and just fell short. Felt so bad for her, because she's worked so hard, and of course she had the talent to win it, and it was a 1-0 match, man. You just run out of time sometimes. So yeah, big shout out to the women's program. So third place we had Isela Villalobos, Jasleen Wyatt, and then our state qualifiers were Soraya Moreno, Alina Ibarra, Leah Vasquez, and Sunny Robles. And so, obviously, earlier you talked about pitching in, winning some matches for points, and that's what the girls did. The girls had 3 in the finals, but the runners up, these third place, these state qualifiers, it's so important that every match matters, right? So tell me a little bit about the women's program, Coach, and it's been on the rise, and I know Coach Olivas is the head coach there, and you work very closely with them. So tell us a little bit about that program.
Yeah, Coach Olivas is doing an incredible job. As evidenced by winning 2 consecutive state championships. The girls, in this case, did a great job this season. There was a lot of senior leadership, and you're right when you say that it wasn't a one-man show or one-woman show. There was just a complete team effort, and that's how you win state championships. And I think Coach did a good job of bringing the team along, and they probably fell short individually of some of their goals, but I think that maybe sometimes stuff like that happens for a reason. Some of these girls are going to go off to college, and there's going to be a lot of fire in their belly, and I think that the best wrestling is ahead of them.
That's awesome. So, a big shout out to the parents as well. I had the experience of going to the state tournament this year, and our parents are just so supportive of their children and so supportive of the program. And one of the things I point out all the time when I talk about Sunnyside Wrestling, because obviously as an educator and in my role as a superintendent, I really want you guys to get credit academically as well. Our kids get it done in the classroom, and a lot of our students have these scholarship opportunities because they are good academic students. They're performing in the classroom and on the mat, not just on the mat, but right and in the classroom. So big shout out to them for being these true student athletes. That's what a student athlete is all about. And so, again, if I haven't said it enough, 39 state championships, and we had three champions. Obviously, Jack Thrush was here with us as a freshman. I believe Malik's a sophomore, right? Malik Hoskins, and he's, 112 or something like that?
He was 113.
113. They throw me off with these weights, man. They add pounds to them. And then we had Xavier Chavez at the weight class of 150. And so, I believe that's a freshman, a sophomore, and a junior, right?
Yeah.
And so, these 3 state champs are coming back. And then we had 4 runners up. We had Francisco Miranda, Carmine Cruz, Lucas Mata, and Big Zane Candelaria, who's headed to Oregon State. He's going to be an Oregon State Beaver, has earned a Division I scholarship, and that's exciting. He's got a bright future. And then we had 3rd place Damian Valderrama, Yasael Gonzalez, 5th place Isaiah Landavaso, and then state qualifier Bobby Robles. So tell us a little bit about this team, Coach. I mean, I think every year team dynamics are a little different, right? I mean, I think coaches understand that. I'm not sure if the community always understands that, but I think different teams bring different things, and it calls for different things you have to work on as a coach. And when I was a young, naive football coach, I coached under Richard Sanchez, and we had just won the state championship, and I'm like, Coach, we just need to do what we did last year, as a young coach that just didn't know a whole lot. And I'm like, why are you always working so hard? Why are you always working on stuff? And he's like, well, you got different personnel. You got different people coming up. You got different talent. And we got to make sure that, we make those adjustments to put the best team out there, this, and that. But, I think people think it's just because you won the state championship last year, you're going to win it this year, and things don't have to change. So take us through that a little bit, because, I think for the listeners out there, we kind of take it for granted sometimes, just saying they're going to win it again next year, but don't know what happens behind the scenes as you have to deal with the lineups and who does what and how many kids and deal with us. So talk a little bit about that.
I think it starts with the realization of motivation. I'm heavily motivated by people who say we can't do things, and so like the iCloud storage, my brain was filled to the extent that I needed more storage of people who didn't think that we could do it, and thought that after Sergio, Vega, and those guys graduated, that Sunnyside was done. And I just kept all those receipts, and the team went to work, and even though we weren't probably prognosticated to finish first, we did so because we banded together for probably 9 months, and we just worked in quiet, and we did a really good job of improving. There was a lot of development that went on, and super proud of the team, because again, it's easy to win a state championship when you have like 7, 8 that you're just for sure you're going to win it, bonus. But this team, there was a lot of question marks, and only a couple returning state champions, and just the attitude, the level of development. I think back in reference to this team, I think back to when we were at the Ironman in Ohio, and we only had one guy wrestling on Saturday. He was going for a medal, which is a big deal. This is like the high school national championships, and we decided as a team the night before that we're going to put our wrestling shoes on, and we're going to work out. We're going to get a practice in, and I think that really summed up the team. Is that just the willingness, even if you didn't get what you wanted, the willingness to the vulnerability to improve. I think that was like kind of sums up the team.
Yeah, it's those changing moments, willing to put into work, right? And so, earlier I had mentioned that, I truly admire this piece of the kids getting the experience to wrestle out of state, and going to these tournaments like the Ironman, or when you go to Clovis, or when you've been to Reno and Best of the West, I think, tournament back a couple years ago. I'm probably screwing that all up, but my point is you've been to a very competitive tournament. So as one of the wrestlers there, what is that like? Because I think I'm sure it's a humbling experience, because you guys dominate a lot, locally and around the state, and then you go out there and you get some tough matches, right? And so as a young wrestler and young freshman state champ, right? How does that feel, Jack? Like when you go to these tournaments and you're going to have some stiff competition.
I mean, it's like, it is pretty humbling because you wrestle like nationally ranked guys like almost every match, or you wrestle like a state champ from like Colorado or state champ from like, I don't know, like Washington or something. Everybody's state champ though at all those tournaments, and so everybody's like either nationally ranked or a state champ, or they've all done something.
What's your mindset going into those tournaments? Do you go in there thinking you have a chance to win every time, or do you go in there saying like, darn, it's uphill climb?
I mean, I try to go to every match saying I'm going to win.
Good. That was a test if you didn't know or not. I asked you that question on purpose, and you answered it correctly.
Yeah, but, I mean, you're not going to win every match, obviously. And you're going to go against, like, number 2 ranked guy in the country, number 10 ranked guy, number 5 ranked guy. And you're not supposed to win, but, you're going to go out there and just try to win, at least.
And what do you learn from that? Like, when you walk away, I'm sure you learn things, right? I think one thing is, I'm sure it and I'm answering for you, but I'm sure it keeps you hungry in terms of like, I got to get better. But what do you learn from like those situations? I mean, it's like, it just means that like I'm not where I want to be. I gotta put in a little bit extra work, do extra things just to get up there, just to catch up, because they're all like miles ahead of me at that point. So. Yeah, but you can't win every match.
No,
Right? All right. Just want to make sure, man. Sergio won every match. So did Audrey.
Well, fun fact about Sergio is that he lost more matches in his senior year of high school than he did his freshman year in college. He was third at the Ironman. He lost a tough match.
Yeah.
But I know that if he was here and he was reflecting, he would definitely say that was the best thing that happened to him.
Absolutely.
Because every time Sergio lost, he would always come back and tell me, like, man, I'm really glad I lost, because as a result of that, I fixed this, this, and so I just think, one, high school wrestling is really difficult. The participation is through the roof. There are so many wrestlers, so many wrestling programs, so many people that take the sport extremely seriously, and in addition to that, you just have to have the right mindset. If you want to compete at the national level, you can't have the state level mindset. You have to have the mindset that every match you're going to hopefully expose something that you can and then learn from and improve.
Yeah, I read something as I'm strong TikToker now, and I was going through some videos, some wrestling videos, and a lot of people are talking about like this was probably the best NCAA tournament that there's been in a long time, if not the best, when it talked about just the competition. You saw guys that went into those final matches, like Sergio's opponent, undefeated, defending champions, and lost. The guy from Penn State, Van Ness, he was supposed to win it. He lost to a freshman, the kid from Stanford, and you had, 3 or 4, I believe there was a total of like 4 freshmen or something like that. 4 freshmen that won a national championship, and a couple of them undefeated. That's insane. It just goes to show though that, hey, you put in the right work, and belief goes a long way, confidence goes a long ways, and that's what you work for your entire life. And so, we obviously, Jack. We know you're on the right path, and we can't wait to see. But we want to see 3 more state championships here, right?
Course.
And then see where you go in college, and hopefully, and what is that, like 2030? You'll have your first national championship. Be a freshman like in 2030.
I think so. Yeah. That'll be it.
So it's just around the corner.
Man,
I remember Sergio being a freshman. I went to school with his dad, so it's just crazy. It's crazy. So I want to talk a little bit about an override from 2 years ago. It was Proposition 499. It was a capital override that the community and the voters supported of the Sunnyside community. And we've been able to do a lot of projects around the community, a lot of projects around our schools, when it comes to brand new parking lots, brand new scoreboards. We're getting brand new lights. We're getting, paint on a lot of the buildings. And one of the things that we wanted to prioritize as a school district is remodeling our wrestling room. And I want people to understand this and hear this. It hasn't been able to been we couldn't do it in the past because there was no money to do it, and because of the support and passing Proposition 498, we're going to have a state-of-the-art wrestling room here within the next year, which is super exciting. What's going to be kind of crappy about it is, shoot, man, we're going to have to displace you guys a little bit while that happens. But we're excited that we're going to build a bigger and better wrestling room because you guys have outgrown it. All the years of just kids being in and out. I mean, that wrestling room is beat up, it's old, and there's a lot of things that need to be upgraded and working. And so you're going to have room for 4 full mats. You're going to have a wall of champions in there. You're going to have a little workout area in there. Coach's, office is going to get, updated. And so I am super excited because this is long overdue. And, I want the community, once we get it all done, I want the community to come out and take a look at it, to come out and visit, especially a lot of the alumni, a lot of the wrestlers that put in a lot of hard work in there. What do they say? Hard sweat and tears that happen in that room, and a lot of the learning moments that happen in that room. And so wrestling again has been a big part of this community for a long time. So I can't wait to get that done. We're hoping to start construction sometime this summer, and hopefully it'll take about 6 to 8 months to get that done. But that's in the works, and it's all due because our kids deserve it. And to the voters out there, thank you for supporting this. Continue to support our bonds and overrides, because these are the types of things that we can do for students. And so I was going to ask you, Coach, I don't even know, do the kids know? Does the community know? I know I've made little comments and put things out there. Are people excited about this?
Yeah, the kids know. I think the word travels, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't make any official announcements until we were all good to go. But I actually have a fun story about, not in this room because I think it was actually out there, but almost 2 decades ago, I met with a superintendent, and I asked him for brand new mats, and he looked me right dead in the eye and said, "We just don't have the money for it." And here we are, almost 2 decades later, and we're getting a state-of-the-art wrestling room, and I couldn't be happier for the kids because they're gonna really enjoy it. And I say this truly because I've been involved in the planning of it. It is going to be the best wrestling room in the state of Arizona, to include the 3 universities. It will truly be state-of-the-art, one of a kind.
That's awesome. What do you think about that, Jack?
I mean, I've heard about it, and I've seen a little like I don't know what to describe them as, but little
renderings, pictures.
Pictures of it. It looks pretty insane. It's
pretty cool, huh?
Formats. It's really double the size, pretty much.
Yep.
And it's pretty crazy now. We have better rooms than universities now, or we're gonna at least.
Well, you guys deserve it, and I wish we could have done this a long time ago, but thanks to the voters, we're doing it now, and it's gonna be sweet, man. And we're gonna invite the public. We're gonna invite alumni over. Like I said, I mean, every time you alumni comes around the room, everybody tells their story, right? Everybody tells their war stories, and the time they spend in that room, just great memories. I mean, you're talking to guys that are now 60, 70 years old, and that I run into that were state champs or wrestled, and they have stories, and so it's so cool that we're doing this. And the other thing is, I want people to understand that we're doing a lot of these things for all schools, right? All schools are getting something. We got brand new turf football fields at Sunnyside and Desert View. We've remodeled our basketball courts, our parking lots, our buildings. We got a big renovation coming for Sunnyside High School as well. And so we're still about a year away from that, but we are going to renovate that entire school, and it's going to look like a state-of-the-art high school as well. So can't wait. Some great things that are happening there at Sunnyside. And for those folks that are out there, those parents that are out there, if you want your sons and daughters to be champions, if you want your sons and daughters to be prepared academically, then pay us a visit. We got some great schools, and Sunnyside's just one of the schools that's showing up and showing out. Did I say that right? And so congratulations to your team coach. Pass on the congratulations to the rest of the wrestlers, Jack, and that room better have your nameplate up there 4 times, man.
Oh yeah.
Right? Any last shout outs, any last thoughts that you guys want to put out there? A shout out to your teammates, the community, to anybody you want. It's an open floor, Jack.
No, yeah, I feel like my teammates, they really helped me improve my wrestling this year. I feel like I got a lot better this year. Throughout all of it, I just feel like everybody sort of helped out in their own way. So.
All right, Coach. Any last thoughts? Any last shout outs?
Yeah, I think it's good to honor the wrestlers but the families of the wrestlers, support staff, teachers, and custodial workers. I don't think they get any credit ever, but big thanks to the custodial workers that are. It's the most used. The wrestling room at Sunnyside is the most used room or building in all of the district, and it's always clean. So shout out to the custodial staff that does a great job.
Absolutely. We always talk about everyone in the organization matters. It takes a village, and success doesn't come without those people that care. And so it definitely everybody in the organization plays a part in the success of all of our students and all of our programs. So with that, we are gonna close with just mentioning it one more time. 39 state championships for the boys wrestling program and the second straight for the girls program, and we can't wait to have you guys on next year celebrating number 40 and number 3. So with that said, hasta la próxima. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Somos Sunnyside. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and found it entertaining. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and share our podcast with la comunidad. For updates on future episodes and more, be sure to follow us on social media and visit our website at susd12.org. We appreciate your support and can't wait to have you back for the next episode. Hasta la próxima vez en Somos Sunnyside.